We'd be fooling ourselves if we had an audience this large and didn't realize that he's present. We want to talk about the ballot or the vote. Refer to me personally concerning my own personal position. Religion is still Islam. Religion is still Islam. Yeah. He's the one who opened my eyes. And the president and the minister founded Muslim Mosque Incorporated, which has its offices in the Teresa Hotel right in the heart of Harlem. It's the Black Belt in New York City. And when we realized that clean vote is a
So, good evening, everyone. I'm back again once again. As I mentioned, the name of my podcast, my program is The Everyday People, The Everyday Entrepreneur. This is Marvin Smith, and I want to thank everyone who will tune in. I hope you can join me. And this week has been a very interesting week in regards to the election, and I kept mentioning the ballot or the bullet by the late great Malcolm X, who was actually one of my mentors. Now, things that Malcolm talked about in regards to white people, I do not share those views. I do not share those views of Malcolm in regards to white people. So I don't share these views. And this was a different Malcolm. Malcolm before he went to Mecca and Malcolm when he came back from Mecca. And when he saw the same white man that he was talking about in America, when he went to Mecca was the same white man that he was right next to, and it was in the same Muslim faith. So Malcolm kind of redirect his path. But this is a great speech. I wish I would have played it before the beginning of the week. So what I'm seeing today is a lot of people are distraught. A lot of people are angry. A lot of people are hurt. And what's amazed me is the Lord said, Hosea 4 and 6, my people are destroyed for the lack of. What's the lack of? Information. So many black people here in America are uninformed, misled, tricked from a emotional standpoint of actually going against themselves and not focusing on the issues or what we call policies. I like to say, take your feelings, take your feelings and your emotions and pack them away into a suitcase. And now let's focus on the policies that affect your everyday life. So after this election, many people are distraught. Many people are angry. Many people are hurt. Many people have lost their minds. And I go back where the Lord said, my people, but I want to say the people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. What are they lacking? The information. And by lacking the information, they have become destructive amongst them own selves. That's why Christ said that what? You should know the truth, and the truth should make you free in St. John 8:32. What truth? The very thing that have enslaved, the opposite of truth is lie or enslavement. The very thing that have enslaved you, meaning that what? If you are addicted to drugs and you no longer take drugs, you have come into the truth. You have identified what that problem is, and that problem has no power over you. But God has given you the strength. So going back to what I said, Hosea 4 and 6, this is written in the Old Testament. My people, I want to say the people, are destroyed for the lack thereof. Of means pertaining to. Pertaining to what? Politics? Pertaining to what? Finances? Pertaining to what? Credit? Pertaining to what? Education? How many adults read? So people are easily manipulated and persuaded by what they feel versus what's reality. I saw a lot of comments and they was ignorant. They was ignorant. Oh, we get back black people. Donald Trump is going to put black people back into slavery. How can he do something like that when there's three branches of government? Judicial, legislative, and I'll name the other one. But there are three branches of government. I said judicial, legislative, and executive. Those are the three branches of government: judicial, legislative, and executive. That's why you have the House of Congress and you have the Senate. So how can you imagine them trying to round up people from the south side of Chicago, old block where King Vaughn is from, trying to take all black people from the south side of Chicago and round them up? What you think will happen if they went to New Orleans, or they went to Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, or Brownsville, or Cleveland, Ohio, or Cincinnati, or New Orleans, or Baltimore, or DC? What would you think will happen? Nothing. Because they have used fear to trick you. They have used fear to trick you. Why? You know why? Because most black people are uninformed, uneducated. To what? Trickery and being manipulated and being used. When are you going to wake up and get out of your feelings? Get out of your way and deal with reality. Stop going by what the media say. Because a man that stands for nothing falls for anything. A man or woman that stands for nothing will fall for anything. Because you're being ruled by your emotions. A lot of black men are afraid to stand up. Why? Because they're afraid of their women. If they didn't go and do what their woman said or vote for what they want to say. But many black men said, no. We're going to stand up and have an independent mind. We're going to think for ourselves. Because no matter who's in the White House, I'm always going to be successful. It's about what? Prosperity and success. Nothing can stop me. Because as long as I got God, as long as I serve the God that's in me, and God has given me the strength, and that I should fear no evil, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I should fear no evil. I fear no man or woman. So no matter who's in the White House, no matter who's in the Senate or the Congress, Marvin Smith is going to be, I'm going to be successful, and no one can stop me. So now, let's listen to the late, great Malcolm X talk about the ballot or the bullet. Many things that Malcolm speaks about when it comes to white people, I don't share those views. Because many people have been a part of my success, whether it's white, black, Indian. I am fortunate and I am blessed to have created and built my own company. And I have many clients, so my clients are diverse. So many of the things that Malcolm speak about, but that was back during that time. And when you go back there during that time, many of our people was fighting segregation, fighting racism at a higher level. So my ancestors went through things. I never experienced it. So what Malcolm was talking about was back there during that time, but he was also talking about now with the what? About the Beyoncés, Kelly Rowland, Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump, okay? D.L. Hughley, LeBron James. He spoke about what? A lot of these pastors, because back there in slavery time, they would use the pastors to keep the slaves calm. I say it again. During the time of slavery, they would send the pastor, the preacher, to keep the slaves calm. So now, let's listen to the late, great Malcolm X, and this speech is relevant until this day.
A Senior Baptist Church, but at the same time, he's more famous for his political in Atlanta, Georgia, but he's become more famous for being involved in the civil rights struggle. There's another in New York, Reverend Galamison. I don't know if you've heard of him out here. He's become famous for his fight against the segregated school system in Brooklyn. Right here, he's a Christian minister here in Detroit. He's the head of the Freedom Now Party. All of these are Christian ministers. All of these are Christian ministers. All fronts. Nationalist freedom fighter. Religion is my
And I have to agree with Malcolm here. A lot of times, when you bring your personal beliefs to the table, you don't get things solved because everyone have their own belief and perspective, but there's a time and place for your religion. Your religion should not come up in the equation when you're talking about, for example, politics. But politics should align with what you believe in. Let's go back to the late. Let's go back to Brother Malcolm.
Between them and the God in whom they believe. And this is best this way. A fight that's common to all of us against the enemy, all of us. And the politicians in his own community. The time when white people can political leaders and tell us what to do and what not to do is long gone. By the same token, the time when that same white man, knowing that your eyes are too far open, can say,
Talk about the Negro. He's talking about the celebrities. Because he know that black people, not all of us, but many of our black people worship celebrities. That's why the Lord said, put no God before him. So now I'm going to break it down on a spiritual level. On an earthly level, you should never put no one before you, or the very thing that you put up before you or above you, you're going to worship it. Why? Because whatever you put above you or before you is going to have a powerful influence on how the way you think, how the way you move, and how the way you act. So when Malcolm talk about the black people, he's talking about the celebrities like Beyonce. He's talking about the Jay-Z's or the Charlemagne the Gods, Al Sharpton. And I'm going to touch on Al Sharpton later. He called himself a reverend, but when you go back and look at Kamala Harris' running mate, Tim Walz, who is the governor of Minnesota, passed a law that a woman could terminate her pregnancy up to 9 months. But wait a minute, Reverend Al, I thought you was a minister, a man after God. What profit a man if he gained the whole world? What profit is it? What profit a man if he gained the whole world and do what? Sacrifice and lose his soul. See, Reverend Al is not who you think he is. He's a race hustler. He's a race hustler. All what they say? All kinfolk ain't skinfolk. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. All skinfolk ain't kinfolk. Those that look like you is not of you. Many are called, but few are chosen. Many will call themselves activists. Many will call themselves prophets and teachers, but few have been selected or ordained or have the spirit of truth. How can you be a pastor or reverend, yet you are advocating on Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's campaign when he is the governor of Minnesota, which passed a law you can fact check? See, the problem with the black people, you don't do no research. You go by what you feel, by what you heard. You never do any research. So when you go check out Tim Walz, who was the running mate of Kamala Harris, he passed a law in Minnesota that a woman could terminate the pregnancy up to 9 months. Isn't that murder? But many of you Christians out there that say that you believe in God, why didn't you question that? Let's go back to Brother Malcolm.
That if you and I are going to live in a black community, more than you're right there all by yourself. We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what politics is supposed to produce.
And I want to go back to one other person, Barack Obama. Barack Obama. I must admit that when he ran in 2008, no matter what anybody say, I voted for him because why? Because he's black. He's biracial. But I wanted to put him in there no matter what because he was black. So I didn't vote on policy. Would I call that racism? Could I call it that? Could I call it that no matter what he said or what he did, I felt it was my duty as a black man to put him in there in spite of maybe someone else was better than him? Yes, I did it. But the Lord said that what? You should know the truth. And the truth should make you free. See, my thing is, no matter who you want to vote for or what you believe, when it gets personal and emotional and family members start to disrespect one another, friends are going against one another, fathers are going against sons and sons are going against father, mothers going against son and son are going against mother, brothers and sisters are fighting internally. Yet black people in America, we have a problem. It's called black on black crime. We'll kill each other in a second. We don't need no more tension, no more anger. But see, the Democrats, already know how to manipulate you. Let Brother Malcolm talk about this.
We must know what part politics play in our lives. Political program of re-education to open our people's eyes, make us become more politically conscious, politically mature. Of your community. Control the housing, control the education, control the jobs, control the businesses.
And I want to piggyback on what Malcolm said. Last week I went back to where I grew up at. I grew up in Albany Projects and Brooklyn, New York, Crown Heights. I lived on the old side. I lived in 205. And last week I went to go visit back because every now and then I like to go back to where I came from. I don't go there to live, I go there to visit. And when I went into the buildings and I went into the apartment, I said, wow, how can you live under these conditions where nothing is fixed? The possibility of asbestos, the possibility of living in danger. See, the problem with our people, many of our people are living right amongst the drug dealers and the killers. And some of these parents are housing some of these drug dealers and killers. Because as long as mama go get her hair done and her nails done, her feet done, she turn a blind eye. Many of our people have what they call the no snitching rule, which is the dumbest thing. It's called self-preservation. There's no honor among thieves or honor among criminals. So when Malcolm talk about run down, I think about going back to Albany, and I went to go visit, and I'm looking at the living conditions, and I said to myself, "Wow, I'm proud of where I came from, but I'm also proud that I left." See, the projects can be a trap mentally and emotionally, and when a man is trapped, he limits himself. So he limit himself in the way he moves and think. And sometimes he never becomes a man as long as he's living, long as he's trapped. That's not everybody. Because there has been some successful people that left Albany projects. But Malcolm, I had to stop, I had to reiterate and speak on that what he just said. Let me go back.
When we try and spend it in our own community, we're trapped because we haven't had sense enough to set up stores and control the businesses of our community. The man who's controlling the stores in our community is a man who doesn't look like we do. Even when we try and spend our money in the block where we live or the area where we live, we're spending it with a man who, when the sun goes down, takes that basket full of money in another part of the town. So we're trapped. The economic philosophy of black nationalism shows a dime store and expanded and expanded and expanded until today they're all over the country and all over the world and they're getting some of everybody's money. Today is where it is right now. And you and I have to make a start. And the best place to start is right in the community where we live. Be made aware of the importance of going into business. What we're doing is developing a situation wherein we will be able to create employment for the people in the community. And once you can create some employment, he is your enemy. Anytime you wouldn't be in this country if some enemy hadn't kidnapped you and brought you here. We'll be in an argument. And the best way to keep away from arguments and differences, as I said earlier, you're a Baptist, they hang you because you're black. They don't attack me because I'm a Muslim, they attack me because I'm black. They attack all of us for the same reason. Economic exploitation and social degradation. All of it from the same union. The government has failed us.
In the 20th century, 1964, and you walking around here singing, and we fell over. It's just, his name. It's him. It's him, and the body to become the holy champion of the world. So this one of them has hands. And one has hands. One of the numbers. He has been posing as our friends. Hands. And just when you feel that all of these are shellfish to which we can, feel.
So when he mentioned the liberals, he's talking about the left. So for me, and I don't want you to get it twisted, any man or woman that can do the job, and we're focusing on policies, not what I feel, or I should vote for you because I'm black. What does that say about me if I think like that? That's a level of being unintelligent. There's no there's no way in the world I will think like that. Now I don't I don't get caught up into institutional racism because I don't let that enter my mind. That doesn't stop me from being successful. No matter what's out there, I'm going to be successful, even though I'm aware of it. But I'm always going to be successful because I am successful. I make no excuses. And God has given me a beautiful mind that I can generate and I can make money. I can create money. People come to me because they want to know what I think to give them instructions. See, where I sit at is I sit when it says must give and must require. I know what that means. When you got people relying on me to give them instructions and directions, so I know how I have to walk and how I have to be as a man that stands on principles and values. Because out of all my success, before all my success, I'm a man first and foremost. Come on, Malcolm.
Everything is fit. People in Africa and Asia are getting their independence. They're not getting it by singing "We Shall Overcome." No, they're getting it through nationalism. It is nationalism that brought about the independence of the people in Asia. Every nation in Asia gained its independence through the independence brought it about through the philosophy of nationalism. And it will take that to bring about the freedom of 22 million Afro-Americans here in this country where we have suffered 400 years. There is just as much a colonial power as England ever was. Citizenship is nothing. It take Greek nationalism today to remove colonialism from the past and the movement. There were 22 million Afro-Americans. 1964 looks like it might be the year. It looked like it might be the year of the Ballot of the book. It means that listen to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white people. Dissatisfied. All of this has built up frustrations in the black community that makes the black community throughout America today explosive than all of the atomic bombs the Russians can ever invent. Sitting in your lap, you're in more trouble than if you had an atomic bomb carrier sitting in your lap. Racial cake goes off, it doesn't care who, it knocks off the weather. Understand this, it's dangerous. And the white men use now to fool us. And you
They use to fool us or try to fool most of our people? Kamala Harris. See, I'm not against voting for a woman, but you're not going to tell me I should choose her. And this is the thing that I question. We have a record number inflation. When you go to the store and buy your groceries, sometimes you don't have enough money to buy grocery. How many people out there going to bed hungry? Why? Because they don't have enough money. They have to choose between getting to work or buying food, or choose food or buying their medicine. Yet we have a record number inflation. So when you and I go to the grocery store, we go in there with $20, we come out with a candy bar. Because we can't see the value of what we're spending. Yet how many people out there are paying high cost energy bill, electric and gas, everything has gone up. Yet this has happened under the Biden Harris administration. So I am puzzled When I hear black people scream, I say, well, you got to vote for Kamala because of 400 years. This woman ain't black. She's not black at all. And I'm going to get into that. And it amazed me how you want to promote her instead of demoting her. So if you put up Condoleezza Rice, who I think is a genius, she was under the Bush administration, on the George Bush II administration. This black woman is a genius. Or if you put up Michelle Obama, but now I've changed my mind on Michelle Obama based on her last speech. But still, she's eloquent. She knows how to speak. She speaks with confidence. There are many black women out here who are more qualified because Kamala did not go through the process. She talked about democracy, but she wasn't chosen by the people as the Democratic nominee. But a lot of you so-called Negroes out there and your leaders told you to turn the other cheek. But I'm here today to tell you that what? Wake up. How long are you going to let people use you like a prostitute and pimp you out? While Brother Michael was talking about 1964, he would turn over in his grave. He would not approve Reverend Al Sharpton or D.L. Hughley or Steve Harvey because they're sellouts. They're sellouts. Beyonce, Cardi B, who cannot even read. How can you put up there and she couldn't read from a teleprompter? She can't read at all. Because you know why? Because the Democratic Party don't respect black people. They put people like Meg Thee Stallion in front of you, the lowest fruit, the low-level fruit. They don't put intelligent black people in front of us because they don't respect us. You know why? Because black people don't respect themselves. Now I'm getting hot and heated. Let's go back to Brother Malcolm.
You all do that now. He tricked you, had you marching down to Washington. Yes, had you marching back and forth between the feet of a dead man named Lincoln and another dead man named George Washington. Singing, we shall overcome. Jump out on. He made you think you were going somewhere and you end up. And in 1964, you'll see this young black man, this new generation. So today, our people are disillusioned. They become disenchanted. They become dissatisfied. In their plantations, they want action. You'll see this young black man, this new generation, asking for the ballot or the vote. All other time action is outdated. Young generation don't want to hear anything about the outdoor agencies. This country here was first colonies. The whites were colonies. They were filled with this sensation without representation. So some of them stood up and said, liberty or death. They went to a white school over here in Michigan, Michigan. A white man made the mistake of letting me read those history books. He made the mistake of teaching me that Henry was a patriot. And George Washington wasn't even George Washington. He was what brought about the freedom of boots in this country from the English. You didn't hear about the Irish. They faced the reign of the entire British Empire. And in those days, they used to say that the British Empire was so immense and so powerful, and the sun would never sit on it. It's no opinion. Yet these 16 little tiny states, tired of taxation without representation, tired of being exploited and oppressed and degraded,
British Empire, you feel that. And here you have 20 million Afro-Americans, black people today, kissing more than kissing Hillary Clinton.
And that's correct. So I'm not against people coming to this country, but you need to come through the process the legal way. Yet there are many black people suffering in the south side of Chicago when you watch a lot of YouTube videos and they're speaking to the city council and they're expressing their anger. They're hurt. They've been abandoned. No one is listening to them. Yet I found out this week that Eric Adams is going to end the debit card, and on the debit card, the illegal immigrants were given, if they have two children, $350 a week. Yet you had black people and white people that was in North Carolina who tried to apply for $750. They was denied. Yet the illegal immigrants come here, they're getting food stamps, they're getting housing, they're getting jobs, they're getting homes. Yet the black people, the Latino people, the white people are struggling in this country. That's why I like Trump plan, is to take back this country. But I have a family relative that say, well, when I say make America great again, he says to me, well, that's our ancestors. See, that's a slave mentality, a slave answer right there. I am great. Why don't you feel that you great? Why not make yourself great and relevant? So when Brother Malcolm is speaking, I'm listening. Do I agree on everything? No. That was a different time for Malcolm. That's why he spoke that way. But what I love about Malcolm was a man that went to prison and read the dictionary and became one of the greatest speakers of our time. Let's go back to Brother Malcolm.
These young black men and three more important are something to 800 million Chinese. If you're not afraid of others, you should. America, why does this going to be such an explosive political year? Because this is the year of politics. This is the year when all of the white politicians are going to come into the Negro community. You've never seen them until elections are. You're going to come in with false promises. And if they make these false promises, they're going to feed our frustrations. And this will only serve to make matters worse. No politician, not even a student of politics. You're a Democrat, you're not in and don't lose enough to know. One of the 22 million soccer Democrats. You know, the 22 million victims of the Republicans, and the 22 million victims of Americans. I don't speak as a Democrat, a Republican. I speak as a victim called democracy. You have never seen democracy, only seniors hypocrisy. Today, look around America, we see America just through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has seen the victim of this. We don't see the American dream. We experience only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it. And I'm not afraid to say it. If you go to jail, so what? If you win, you're born in jail. If you black, you're born in jail. It's not as well as the same. Stop talking about the same. Means you're south of the, means you're south of the Canadian border. He called Governor Wallace a Dixie governor. He is a Dixie governor. Million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they become develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. They see that the whites are so evenly divided that every time they vote, the race is so close they have to go back and count the votes all over again. Which means that any black the votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Everywhere you go, this is in a position to determine. You can keep Johnson in DC, or you can send him back to his Texas family. You're the one who sent Kennedy to Washington. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you 80% of your vote. I'm in a position to be the determining factor of the Union Army. The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all of the legislation they wanted to bring out, they brought it and just didn't believe it, and now they're bringing up you. And now they're bringing up you. You put them first and they put you last. You're a political truth. In D.C. in the House of Representatives, 257 were Democrats. Republican. In the Senate, 67 Democrats. Only 33 are Republicans. It's only the few control two-thirds of the House of Representatives in the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you. So you're a chief.
What did Malcolm say about the Democratic Party making promises to you and never keep them? So I'm not saying there's never been there's bad on both sides. But the problem that I have is when people are easily manipulated and go against what they believe. And I'm looking at everybody. You got men crying. If you're a man and you're crying about this, don't come near me. Because that's not what a man does. A man, when you're dealing with manhood, we don't do all that crying. We accept it, but yet it never stops us from being a man and being on our purpose. So if you're a man out here who crying and questioning everything, you're not a man. Because when you're a man, you put your bootstraps on. And no matter who's the president, you're going to be successful.
And then they can keep the promise that it's made for you in election time, and you are doing the work and continuing to identify yourself as that you're a traitor to your race.
What did Malcolm say? See, black people are more devoted to the Democratic Party. What has the Democratic Party done for black people? Remember, it was the Republicans that passed the Voters' Right Act when black people and white women could not vote. It was the Jim Crow under the Democratic Party. So how many of you are going to wake up and do your research? Black people are so dedicated to the Democratic Party in spite of false promises. What was Joe Biden? Did Joe Biden create the 1994 crime bill that incarcerated more black people? So what did black people do? They went back and voted for him. You know what he said on the Breakfast Club? If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. What did Charlemagne the God do? Nothing. See, that's a poor representation of a man. That's not a man. He sold out. In order for many of our people to stay in their positions, you know how much money Kamala Harris was paying Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, and all these so-called our black entertainers to go up there and speak for her? And now her campaign is in a deficit as far as money-wise. Wow. Wake up.
Today has your glory. You develop a political maturity. You're able to think and think for yourself. And you can see that this is not as nothing but a benefit. At the structure of the government that controls this country. It's controlled by 16 senatorial committees and 20 congressional committees. The 16 senatorial committees that run the government, 10 of them are in the hands of Southern segregationists. But the 20 congressional committees that run the government, 12 of them are in the hands of Southern segregationists. And they're going to tell you and me that the South wants to win. You today are in the hands of a government of segregationists, racists, supremacists, and so on for schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is nothing but business. You know the Dixie Tracks. The city in the winds. Say it again. You got a president who's nothing but a southern segregationist. In the state of Texas, they'll lynch you in Texas as quick as they'll lynch you in Mississippi. In Texas, they lynch you with a Texas accent. In Mississippi, they lynch you with a Mississippi accent. And the first thing the country does in power, he takes all the Negro leaders and invites them for coffee. To show that he's all right.
Malcolm referring to one of them, Al Sharpton. He's a sellout. When I heard him speak I heard a video clip of him on YouTube, and they said, well, they never tell you why Kamala Harris lost. People voted on the policies. For me, it was not personal. But Al Sharpton said, oh, he said black men and Latino men and white men are misogynists. That was the most ignorant statement I ever heard in my life. One, I said, you know what? The reason why they lost is because she never talked about the issues, about inflation. What about the border crisis? Illegal immigrants coming into the city, to America. Fentanyl, drugs is coming into America. And put them in the ghettos, in the worst neighborhoods or neighborhoods. And many people are suffering from a lack of resources. We don't talk about that. So when I think of Al Sharpton, I think of a puppet to keep black people in the dark, pretending that he's for us, but he's not really for black people. Go check out Al Sharpton history. He talked with a forked tongue. He's an empty vessel that makes loud noise. He's talking about racism. And that's the whole purpose of the Democratic Party, is to preach and use racism or racial psychology on black people. They play on you. Why? Because you're misinformed, uneducated when it comes to politics. You think with your emotions and feelings. They think that Al Sharpton represents all of us. He don't represent me. I represent me. Me and Al Sharpton ideology and principles don't line up together. Al Sharpton is a sellout. Steve Harvey is a sellout when it comes to politics. D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, all these men are telling you to vote for Kamala, yet many, when inflation don't affect them, but it affects the everyday people in the hood throughout America, white people, Chinese, are you crazy? Come on now.
Come away from the coffee table, telling you and me that this man is all right. Because he's from the South. And since he's from the South, he can deal with the South. And look at the logic that they're using. He's from the South. The human president. He can, if Johnson is a good man because he's from Texas, and he's from Texas, if Johnson is a good man because he's from Texas, and he's from the deal with the South, he's from the South better than Jersey. Say, you do Israel. You do Israel. You do Israel. She's done a couple of weeks ago. All the senators were filibustering. I noticed in the back of the Senate a huge map. And in this map, it showed the distribution of Negroes in America. And surprisingly, the same senators that were involved in the filibuster were from the states where there were the most Negroes. Filibustering the civil rights legislation. Because the civil rights legislation is supposed to guarantee the Negroes in those states. And those senators from those states know that if the Negroes in those states can vote, the senators are doing the dream.
And that's funny what Malcolm said. Look at Chicago. And you look at the south side of Chicago, one of the highest murder capitals in America. And Chicago has been under the leadership and guidance of the Democratic Party. Think about that for a moment. Think about it. So what I'm saying is that don't inject your feelings in your decision making because you feel that that person is a woman. And for all you women out there, if you vote for a woman because she's a woman, then I ask you a question. Should you vet her? But see, is it true that women are governed by their emotions? You think with your emotions? Are you questioning this person? Like, for example, what about the job market? What about inflation? What about health care? What about crime? You never asked her a question. Because as long as Oprah Winfrey got up there, as long as Michelle Obama got up there, they didn't care about the crime in your community. You was focusing on what? Power. You was focused on, because they told you that she black. That woman is not black. She's Syrian, Jew, and South Asian. She's a Hindu. They said she's the first Asian American. Go back and look at clips of her. But see, what she did was, like any other Democrat, they come around and play on you. Talk about she put collard greens in the bathtub. What the hell black people put collard greens in the bathtub? I ain't never seen that. But what she did was she was playing on you. Because you know why? You're like sheep. You're gullible. You're thirsty. You don't think for yourself. She said, I'm going to think for them. I'm going to go right there and deceive black people because they easily be manipulated. She never answered the question. And when a question was put to her, one, she lacked confidence. I saw that. How can she be in front of leaders and you can't answer a question? You got to sit in the room with these leaders and come up with what? Strategies and solutions, or they won't respect you. So if Condoleezza Rice for Iran, now you got my eyes open. Michelle Obama, that's an intelligent black woman. But I'm watching her too, because the way she spoke caught my eye. Because she was trying to sell the Democratic Party. Because guess what? Now her own party is fight. Democrats are fight amongst themselves now, blaming each other. Ain't that something?
Go down the drain. And in the Constitution of this country, it has a stipulation wherein whenever the voting rights of people in a certain district are violated, then the representative, who's from that particular district, according to the Constitution, is supposed to be expelled from the Congress. This particular aspect of the Constitution was enforced when you were in Washington, D.C. You're a he just more of the decision he was in the power of the Democratic Party. In the Democratic Party, in future, the is based in the medicine. When the German game, political kind of game, you know how it goes. You know, when you come to you and make these points. And these are the roots with everything that's not good. But we don't know this business. It's to make you a goal. It's everything. It's done. You and me over these years. I think there's no complaint. This is no president. Yes, what is different? Original shit. Yeah. Johnson, that's fine. But the one years a year.
And Lyndon B. Johnson was a racist. He was responsible for the Great Society Act, which gave our black women government assistance and kicked the black man out the home. And he said, I could get these niggas to vote Democrat for 200 years. So what I'm saying here to you is this. They ain't a perfect Democrat. They ain't a perfect Republican. It's not only the presidential election. You have to vote for the attorney general, the Senate, your Congress, and you must vote on the local level besides your mayor, governor. And this is important that black people, we have to educate ourselves. We have to stop letting others think for us. And you have to think for yourself. You can't allow D.L. Hughley or Roland Martin or Van Johnson or Al Sharpton, Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, LeBron James, Beyonce. You can't allow these people to think for you and and scare you into voting. Vote or die. What do you mean vote or die? Or guess what? When Trump get in office, black people going back in slavery. You already in slavery. Your mindset. You have a slave mind. What is a slave mind? You are trapped in your own thoughts. You are trapped in your own fear. You are trapped in your own way of not being successful or prosperous. You love to blame other people, but you never blame yourself. You want people to do for you what you won't do for yourself. What are you going to do for yourself? So that when the Democrats come to our community, they will respect us for what we have built and created. No one respects a beggar. That's why the Democrats, all they got to do is feed you Beyonce or a celebrity. Because they know that you can't think for yourself. You sit up here crying and boo-hooing, oh, Lord, the world coming to an end. When you fell asleep and woke up, the world is the same as you went to bed. Ain't nothing going to change. That's your fear, ignorance talk, being ignorant talking. That's why the Lord said, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, because you reject knowledge. A lot of you can't even talk politics at the dinner table, but you'll talk about the latest Philadelphia Eagles or New York Giants or what LeBron James is doing or Beyonce or Megan Thee Stallion or Lizzo, but you won't talk about politics that affect you every day of your everyday life. It'd be nice if we raise our children to get into politics on the local level, mayor or governor or lieutenant or attorney general, city council, something. But get involved. But when you're educated, then you can make a wise decision. And you're not leaning on your emotions. So I want to end this live stream and I'm going to be coming back more. This is no personal attack on my people. And I don't agree with all that Malcolm said. Because during slavery, without white people, there were some good white people that helped us. There's good and bad in all races. There's good and bad in all races. But I say to my people, the black people, no one is holding us back. Stop playing the victim game, blame game. Stop feeling that you're entitled, that someone owe you something. Yet somebody said, well, I'm faithful. Well, with 4 years or what? You ain't experienced nothing. What you experienced? Our ancestors went through a lot, but they stuck together. I'm going to drop another bomb on you. All black people was not slaves in America. I'm going to bring that out. That's some deep history. All black people in America were not slaves. Now go check that out. Because you've been bamboozled, like Malcolm said. You've been tricked. You've been tricked so bad that you can't even think for yourself. Then they're going to say that Rocky Balboa was black. And if you keep saying it long enough, black people are going to believe it. Wow. They're going to tell you in the next few years that Joe Biden was black. If you keep saying it, black people are going to believe it. They fall for anything. But I want to say good night to everyone. I wish each and every one of you health, happiness, prosperity, success, money, respect, love, and the abundance of all things. And share this video with your friends, your family, and hit that like button. And on my YouTube channel, The Everyday People, The Everyday Entrepreneur.